Hi everyone, it's Cindy. I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I am here today. I am starting a new journal that is also going to be a design team project for the Junk Journal Studio. And today I would like to start by making the cover for this journal. So the theme of this journal is going to be essentially the immersion of spring, because it is coming, my friends. So the Junk Journal Studio, who I will link below in my description box, she has a whole set of beautiful kits that are all spring themed. So this is spring embellishments. So I have printed, I'm going to be showing you several more of these kits and things throughout this project, so this is only the first one. So I have printed here some of the pages from the embellishment specific kit. I will probably link below all of the spring kits so that you can see. She's organized them in a really nice way. So like you've got your journal kit pages, that's one kit. Then you've got fussy cuts. Then you've got embellishments, things like pockets, envelopes, tags, labels, things like that. So I will probably link all of them down below, and then I'll do the same thing with every project as we complete them. So I'll just kind of show the images to you. I'm not going to use all of these, but I am going to be using several of them, and the rest will probably go somewhere inside the journal. Now, one thing about this that you may not realize is that I have printed these actually on iron-on fabric sheets, okay? So what I'm using today is this stretchable fabric iron-on transfers. So my plan is to iron them and then stitch them onto my cover. And I'm really excited about that. So if you are a part of my Patreon, you will have learned how to make this beautiful jelly roll. These are my shabby fabric and lace jelly rolls. This one is my own that I have created for myself to use for different projects. It's going to be a part of my cover. I will have another one going up in my shop that I just got rolled. I have to measure and reverse roll it before it gets posted, but the last time I posted these, they went pretty quickly, but I will get this one going here, and we'll see when I get it posted. Just keep your eyes on my Etsy shop. You'll see things will be coming soon. So this is what I want to use as my cover. Probably not the whole size. I'm going to cut it down a little bit maybe, but this is my own boiled dyed wool. It's a sheet. I create these from time to time when I'm doing felting projects as the basis of whatever I'm felting, but they're also really great instead of using like quilt batting. I like the sturdiness of this. So that's going inside. Then I've pulled together a bunch of fabrics that I feel are quite, reminiscent of this project. So like, if we put together almost like a little kind of mood board, right? We've got these things all together here. I also have this that I want to add to the cover, and I have a few other really lovely Tula Pink fabrics. I've pulled together this piece of paper. I have some more florals like this that I think will go in the project. And I've even pulled some scraps of Edith Holden where I can probably use up little bits and bobs in the journal as well. So this is kind of my mood for this journal as I'm doing my planning. So that being said, the first thing we need to do is get rolling here with the cover. So I'm just going to move all of this aside. I'm going to lay my cover down and decide what size I want it to be. So if we take a piece of paper, do I have a piece of copy paper? Let me see. Here's one. Oh, it's roughly copy paper sized. Okay, so I might leave the length here to allow this to be a wraparound on the fold of the journal. And I'm going to go a little bit taller than a piece of copy paper, but just not as tall as that. That's a little too tall. So I'll move the copy paper, or it's not copy paper, it's a little bigger, up there. And I'm going to just make a cut, maybe trying to see how to do this on camera. Okay, let's just go to say here. So we just want to take this little bit of the felt off the bottom. You could certainly line this up on like a measuring surface. I'm not that, anal about this being perfect. It doesn't need to be, because what I'm doing with it is going to change it hugely. So the next thing that I'm going to do is get my jelly, not this one, this jelly roll. And I'm going to grab lengths of it that are as long as my piece, and that go a little bit above, like so. And we are going to need pins, which hopefully I have some. I think they might be on my other desk. One moment. Okay, here we go. We have pins. So, and I'm just going to take my pins and I'm going to lay them down here. The other nice thing about this felt is that some of this jelly roll is just lace, and I've decided I like the color of the felt behind the lace enough to let the lace just lay on it. If I didn't, I could, layer more fabric underneath it. But we're going to go all the way across here and just pin this down, probably go like 5 pins across. Just make sure you go all in the same direction so that when you're sewing you can pull all the pins out in the same easy kind of way. So row 1 is done, and then I'll snip the edge on both sides. This side didn't really work because it was a bit shabby. This would be a better little like tab. Okay, so then we go and we do the same thing again next row. And look at both sides to see what you like better. I like this side because it's got the floral and the lace. So we'll just pull enough of that off and just kind of, position it under itself so that you like how it sets up across your piece. Okay, good. And I'll just trim it now actually before I pin. This is just kind of your cover setup. And with this kind of a cover, because I want to further embellish it with more stitching, we're only going to work one side at a time, meaning you don't have to worry about covering the back side just yet. That's going to come later after all of the embellishing and playing with this front cover. So it's almost like working on a painting. It's a singular surface that you've got going on here. Don't worry about your back side. The other thing I'm thinking I might want to do on here is just a little bit of slow stitching, because I love what slow stitching adds. There's sort of a texture and a feel that slow stitching adds that's really hard to even explain. If you've ever slow stitched or you felt that feeling, especially of just a running stitch on fabric, it's just a wonderful tactile experience. So this here, I just love these little pom-poms. This came from a little dress that belonged to my daughter when she was a little one, and it's actually like a little, sort of like a little sari. It's really cute in kind of untraditional colors for a sari, but still a sari. Oops, that's a pin on the floor. I will find that afterward. Hopefully not with my foot, but we'll see. Because I don't want to stop, I just want to keep going. I will remember it's there. Okay. I already like how this feels. So it's a chilly day today, but not like so much so that it's terrible. We had sun yesterday, which was great. I was so happy to see the sun. And then had to go out this morning and it wasn't too bad. It was a little cold. I walked my daughter to the bus stop and stayed quite bundled up while she was out there playing. It's like the cold does not affect kids. They're just like, whatever. Let's go. Let's play. Okay. just got to pull this a little bit under there. It's a little wrinkled. There we go. Just like making a little strip quilt kind of, but shabby and fun. Right, and we'll probably need about one more strip, I'm guessing. Let's see how it goes. Yep. There, and then hopefully this is wide enough. I think it is. Yep. Some fun shaping here. Just decide if we want to go with that. I think I will. Okay, and then we'll clip that off, set the rest of the jelly roll aside here. Okay. Alrighty, so now what we need to do with this, I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch across in a zigzag, I think, just probably on each of the strips 2 times, sort of one at the top and then one toward the bottom, and I'll do that, you know, so we'll have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 rows of zigzag stitching that will secure this on. Then I will go around the edge as well 1 time. Then we're going to come back. The other thing I'll do while I'm away, so that you don't have to wait for me, is I'm going to cut out all of the beautiful pieces that I've selected from this kit. You'll see I've cut a couple things out for other projects. Those are not involved in this. And we're going to select what we want to use on the outside of the cover, which I don't think is going to be easy because there's so many beautiful things. We have to consider what will be the front and the back and the flap. So we'll do all that planning and I'll cut all of this out when I come back. Okay, so I've got all these beautiful bits from the Junk Journal Studio. I've cut them all out. So if you recall, these are printed on like a stretchy fabric iron-on kind of material, right? I showed you this. It is stretchable fabric iron-on transfers. So these work on cotton poly blends and they are made from polyester, I believe. Or no, they work on polyester. So I feel like there's some kind of like a film type thing that they go on like a shirt. Like I think we all know those kind of shirts where you have like this kind of a almost a plasticky image. That is what this material is. So I completed stitching, you know, the quilt essentially of the cover. And it turned out really pretty. I quite enjoy it. I think it was pretty easy to sew except for one moment in time where, has your sewing machine ever done this before? You get this little beard on the back of your, and then it goes ka-clunk, ka-clunk, ka-clunk. So the reason why this happens, there's usually 2 main reasons. Well, 3 actually, why this happens. So number 1, this is a stressful sew to begin with for a sewing machine because it's all sorts of, like, it's not that bad, but it's like you're changing textures, right? So you go onto lace, onto fabric, whatever, but also you have boiled wool behind it. So it's a lot for the sewing machine. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10 for frustration of your sewing machine, you're probably hanging around a 7 with this. But the main reason this happened to me is one of the other two reasons, not just the material. It was because, first of all, my machine was dirty. I had to clean it out inside. There was a bit of gunk, especially if you use your sewing machine for sewing paper. And if you're impatient like me and you don't always wait for your glue to be dry, you're going to get gunk that builds up on your needle, and sometimes right around underneath your presser foot, where you drop in your bobbin. In front of it, right where the presser foot is, there's sort of these arms that kind of come beside the bobbin, and there's like usually sort of two little valleys in there. That is where I find that dust collects to glue-based gunk and can sometimes sit right at the side of where your bobbin needs to be able to turn. So if you get like a ka-clunk sound and you see this beard, that's probably the first thing to check. Is, do I have that gunk in those little valleys that's sort of making it hard for my bobbin to turn, and it's causing like a little jump of your whole bobbin case? So that's what was wrong. But I also changed my needle because I had a thicker denim needle in there. So another thing with sewing machines, if you notice when you're sewing something and it sounds like a jackhammer, like it's like bang, 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 you know, like, but not even as dramatic as that, it's just very loud, you probably don't have a thin or sharp enough needle for the material that you're working with. If you're using, like, you're sewing something like denim, you need a bigger, fatter needle to handle that. Also leather requires that same kind of thing, but for something like paper, you want a thin, sharp needle, unless you're going through like book. Well, actually book is the same. You don't want it to bang into your book cover. So thin, sharp needle, but strong material like steel is highly recommended. So that being said, though, we have this. Now, what my objective is, okay, is we have a journal. This is the back, and this is the front, or vice versa. Actually, I want that to be the front because I love this little pom-pom situation. So this, that needs a little trim. I still got to, I have to trim the whole thing. I haven't trimmed the sides yet. So this is going to lay down like this, and then that's going to be the flap. I'm going to have a flap there to allow extra growth to this journal. So now I need to like sort of do a collage and understand how I want things to lay down. So like I'm really in love with a couple, well, all of these images really, but there's one that really spoke to me as like a cover. And it was the one with the bird, which is around here somewhere. This is how I can lose things in plain sight. Here we go. So I love this bird postcard. It's so pretty. Now, I don't want to lose that, so I think I'm going to put it sort of here. Now, I'm not going to even humor myself and try to iron on directly to this rumply bumply. I'm going to get some nice plain blue cotton fabric, and that's what I'm going to iron these onto. I'm going to iron all of them so that I have them not only for like this project right now, but whatever I don't use on the cover, I can then use in the journal or on another project. So I will get my fabric sorted out and we will begin ironing. I've got to go heat up the iron, so be right back. Okay, friends, so a little bit of a swirly here, a little turn it around, Cindy. I did a little experiment because I haven't used these transfers before and I didn't want to like get on camera and kind of flummox it around, and if it didn't work, go through multiple like test sessions. So I thought I would do a test beforehand. So I showed you these, right? This stretchable fabric. These were thrifted. I paid like $1 for about 10 packages of these. So as it turns out, I just can't really get these to work, to be completely honest. I've found the instructions for them and I've followed them, but they don't work. So I'll get in a moment the other ones that I'm using, but I also had a couple of things in mind because I found the instructions and there's kind of a few important things. So number one, if anything has text, you're going to want to put this into like some kind of an application. I personally use my Photoshop to just reverse the image so that this will be backwards, because remember, these are transfers, right? It's a transfer film, so it's going to reverse. So you'll see here that beehive is now backwards. That's what we want. So the other part of this is you need to use your iron on its hottest setting, no steam, and it specifically says no ironing board. To use a pillowcase. So I have this vintage pillowcase that I thought I would just pop down here. And I have had success, but it's kind of a little bit of a tedious process to do this, but they do turn out really neat and I'm excited to play with them. So what I'll do the high pressure one with you guys. So they say 3 minutes for your standard photograph size image. So that's about what this is, I would say, this bird. And this is the bird that I want to use on my cover. So I'll cut her out here. We'll set the other things aside. I'm going to print a few more of these pages and probably do a bunch more of these. Now, the other part of it, so those other transfers that I printed out, like this one, this will not go to waste. I will use this. It's still a usable piece of paper. You know, it's very durable. So like this one itself can be a pocket. It also has like a nice kind of vellum-y feel and sound to it. So I'm not too stressed about the fact that I printed all of those, you know, but I don't want to use them for the fabric portion of this, okay? Because I need the cover to be, you know, easy peasy. So this here, you'll see no ironing board, pre-iron your garment, use firm-handed two-handed pressure. So we put this down. And then comes the part that you're not going to really enjoy watching because I have to get on top of this, stand up, and use 2 hands and a good amount of pressure. And you have to do this for about 3 minutes, littler images. It's not so much time. I'm also kind of moving it around because, you know, what I don't know is like, I don't do a lot of ironing, and I know that you can scorch your fabric if you hold your iron in the same place for too long. To be completely honest, I've never had that happen though. So I don't know how long maybe it's for irons that plug in. This one is wireless, right? So it's going to gently cool down a little bit. So another thing they talk about is not to use irons that cool down, but I'm doing it my own way because this is a wireless iron. I don't think I have a plug iron. Mine is like a sit in a cradle kind of iron. So what I'm going to do, like this gets really, really hot. I don't think it's cooling to a state that would jeopardize this, you know, sticking, because it does take a while to cool down. So yeah, a few adjustments that I thought I would make off camera to just like not stress everybody out. But I did get a couple of good transfers, so I'll show you. So here is these tickets. I love that it's like a translucent, you know, kind of thing. This. It's a little cut off at the bottom because some of it... The other thing about this you got to be careful is the paper can really stick, and sometimes the transfer, a part of it, will wrinkle up. So I just think... it takes some playing with. There will be failure if you get a package of this. You know, make those considerations. I thrifted these, so I'm not super emotional about it. But yeah, if I was paying like the $20-some for these new, I'd probably be a little more careful. Or if I was doing t-shirts or something. But this is junk journals, you know. We don't need to freak out. So like I can still smell, you know, that heat smell that comes from an iron. So this is still very, very hot. I'm going to lift it up and just let it sit on its cradle for a moment. Now I don't see it curling up, so that's a good sign. So we'll just kind of let this relax for a second, and I might come in just for another minute once this goes back, the green light comes on, and I'll do one more little heat press to it. You can also use these with t-shirt presses, but maybe while I'm waiting I will just cut this one out as well, and I will print a few more of these pages to reverse them and then have more of these because I'm going to need more of these for my cover, definitely. Okay, we've gone back to green, so let's just do another good two-handed firm press. Getting our workout today. And they do say to have an ironing surface that's at waist level. And I'm guessing they say no ironing boards because you would collapse your ironing board putting this much pressure. Okay, so this is relatively cool now. Not like completely cool, but warmy cool. And it's that nerve-wracking moment, guys. So you just kind of start at a corner and you peel it upward. If you can manage to get a hold of it. Sometimes I've got to try a couple of the corners to see if I can get one to come up. Okay, so it's already looking good. You see that little corner there? So now you just peel it back. Gently but confidently. Straighten it out here. Okay. Oh, I love how this looks on the blue fabric. This is my first one on blue. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that. So if everything else goes wrong, I'm still not going to cry because this turned out amazing. So yeah, now we have a few of these. Now, I will do the rest off camera so that I don't bore and stress you out at the same time. But like, look at this. Okay, so here's our cover. Here's an example of one of these, right? Collage, stitch around. It's going to be so fun. So let me do a few more of these and we will have some good bits because I want a few of these to cover this. I'm really excited. Oh, the other thing, another tip for you. Once you've done this, cut this one off. Do not keep going and put your iron down on your finished one because you will ruin it, because that's intense heat you're putting on this beautiful image, right? So let me finish a few more of these and I will be back. These are all ironed on. This actually got surprisingly much easier. I think it was just like I needed to learn to do this. It was a little bit of a learning curve, but like as you iron one after the other, you get the feel of like how it's going to be. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Like you start to understand like, okay, yeah, it's stuck down. And I didn't feel that they needed to be pressed super hard. And for the full 3 minutes, the little ones, like 30 seconds, they were totally fine. So everything was behaving just fine. So what we have are some of the labels, a piano string case, I believe, and some lovely sort of postcard, and then there's just some really pretty spring kind of embellishments. I did 2 different blues, a little bit of white. I wanted this on a white because it was just so colorful and pretty, and then I did some sort of taupe colors, little ticket, more labels, Swan Pencil Code. There's some swans on that one, and then some yellows. I love how the yellows look, actually. They're really pretty. This big 1882 calendar, and then the other blue, this kind of, it's almost like almost a violet blue, and I really like how this one turned out. So you will see in this journal as I go. That's beautiful. You're going to see these images again on paper, probably in the journal. There are so many amazing assets in this kit. I can't wait to dig into it. I think this is one of my favorite, this daffodil greeting. It's so pretty. And then these little round labels. And then we're back to, you know, our bird, our focal point. Oh, and I forgot to put this one on. I will put it on after, a little bit later. I won't hold up the video for that. So I think we can probably begin doing a bit of collage. You may see I have different sleeves on now. It is a little bit later, and I put my sweater on because it's chilly today. Okay, so let's get our cover. So again, I want this to be this side, to be the front. Okay, and we want to keep a flap like so. And I don't want to cover these pom-poms, so I want this to go right there. And I brought my pins over, so now I'm just going to kind of collage the cover with these different bits and bobs. So the way that I can do that is I'm first going to just put a little pin right up here, and that's going to signify this is where the flap begins. And then I'll put another pin in the crease here, and that will tell me kind of like what's the front and back of the journal. So I have those marks now. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and just pin like maybe the bottom corner, just to keep it in place, and then the top corner. Okay, that's fun. All right, so then flip back over here. Let's finish up with the front. What else we want on the front? I need a different, it's the same blue. I need a different color and something a little smaller maybe. I think I want one of these very simple labels, but I'm just going to trim and rip a little closer. Because I don't want to cover up all of my lace and stuff. A bit off this edge. Okay. So that can go right there, I think. Okay. Then blue, maybe some yellow. This Boddington Seeds would be really pretty. I need to iron this a little. It needs to be flattened. Where did I put my iron? Over here. One moment. When I'm finished with my iron, I always put it like as far away from me as possible to cool, so I do not burn myself. There's nothing worse than forgetting that you have a hot iron and then like, oopsie, especially with kids in the house. Oops, I keep the iron in a pretty controlled place most of the time. I don't have it on when they're around because iron burns sound terrifying. I remember when I was in high school, there was a girl, I do not really recall exactly what happened, but her face got burned with an iron and some mishap in her house, right on her cheek. It was really awful. So yeah, I have no desire to burn myself. Oh, and in other safety related topics, I did pick up that pin that I dropped on the floor earlier. So don't worry. There will be no yowzer emergencies. Yep, I like that there. Okay. So let's just put maybe one little pin in there. Just keep it sitting down there. It doesn't need to be super pinned down. Okay, so then let's go back to the fold here. Now we need to do a little decorating on the flap. Now I also need to decide, I think I'm going to leave all the scrappy bits on the edges here with one exception. Just this little bit, it's bothering me because it's kind of like the end of a strange piece of fabric. But the rest of it, it actually looks nice. I quite like it like that. And I will, when I do my backing, I will stitch it all down nicely so we can keep the rest of it. And that's important just because then you know how much space you have. Like, oh no, did I go too close to the edge kind of thing. So this flap will come over. Our bird will still be able to peek out there when this is flapped over. So now I want some kind of a nice larger embellishment for this. I'm thinking about that, but I'd have to trim it down a little. Maybe it's a little too big. But this would be nice. It's a little smaller and we can trim closer to it. I just want to keep those rips because they're nice. Okay, so that shortens it a bit. And I think the width is okay. Bring it back over. Actually, it is a little wide. Okay. My desk feels so warm because I was ironing on it for so long. Hopefully the wood's not going to get angry at me. It wouldn't surprise me. I also feel like I don't want to cover this section a whole lot though. Maybe this... I'm sorry guys, maybe that is too big. I think this one, hard to tear down. Let me see. Would that fit there? Just. Let's just do one more look through here. I could also go with something yellow. I don't have anything yellow. And actually, I wouldn't have to trim that really. Why don't we go with that? Let's keep there. And then maybe I could put the other one at the bottom. We'll see. So let's put that there. Then this one could go down here. And I'll just trim it a little bit. Okay. Oh yeah, that's nice there because then I don't lose that little bit of pom-pom and that nice yellow floral with all that zigzag stitching. It's just pretty. There's lace in there. There's like a little bit of every nice piece of that shabby jelly roll. Okay, good and good. So we've got our front, our flap, those are done. Then our back. We have a little more leeway back here, so let's look at the nice big pieces that I've got. I was thinking a lot about this one. I love this frame. I think it would be really cool on there. But I also have this. I have the calendar. I've got this mayo ad. That's really nice. The daffodils. And don't forget, the rest of these bits and bobs aren't going to get wasted. They're going to go in the journal. Oh, I want the daffodil greeting on here. Okay, so that goes, this, I think these go, we're not going to do 2 daffodils. So we'll go with the daffodil greeting at the top. Then maybe that's, yeah, it's the same fabric color, so we won't. And then perhaps the piano, that would be nice. It's also that floral, that's in yellow. But I do quite like the piano label. I really want that on there. I think I'll just want some of that color on there too. I like the birdhouses, but they're a little too wide for this. And then I just need a couple small things. Maybe one of the little white, that little stamp could be cute. And the labels, and I'll just, I'll trim down a few things here as we go. This is a pretty fun process, doing this kind of collaging. There we go. Alright, so that can go like that maybe, or like that. Oh, like that. Then I will also trim down the daffodil greeting a bit. Just because there's beautiful fabric under this and I don't want to completely hide it, but I do want these to be my focal point theme for this journal. That's so pretty. Okay, then we'll just trim this one down. Fabric's a little more thick. It's a little harder to rip, but it does rip nicely. Okay, so that there. This, do we need to trim maybe a little bit? This is quite big. So because this is the last side, I'm not going to bother maybe pinning. Oh, actually, no, I will, because I may not. I was going to say I'll sew this side first, but I may not be able to do that at the sewing machine. I think I'm going to need to do it in a bit of a order here. So I'll pin the top of this one like so. I don't need it to lay super flat because I'm actually going to pull them off before I stitch. I just like pull the pins out because I don't need the exact positioning. I can just hold on to them. Okay, one more to go. Just that little stamp. Okay, so that's the full front of the journal, all embellished with these beautiful things from the Junk Journal Studios embellishment kit. Let me go do my stitching and then we'll have the whole outside of this journal ready to go. So I'll be right back. Okay, so this is all stitched, my friends, and I'm only going to do, I think, one more thing on the cover here, but I'm going to do it after this video, so you'll see it in the next design team video that I make for this journal. And what it's going to be is some slow stitching. So I'm going to get some nice bright colors that kind of go along with some of the hints and pops of color, and I'm going to do just some simple little running stitches here and there to just add another kind of, you know, hand touch to this. So I'm going to choose colors like, you know, certainly this bright pink. If I have a nice bright pink, I'm going to use it just to pick those up. Maybe also some like mustardy yellow. I will sort of lay down a few different fibers to see. Like I think even something in this vein would be nice, like this tealy kind of vein. Also some brown could be nice. So I think I'll choose maybe 4 colors to create like like a bit of a sorted, like a decided upon palette, and I'll do that and I will show you what happens in the next video. So just as a reminder, we still have all of our stitching on the back. Don't worry about your back side right now. We're going to figure that out after. But here we go. We have this as our cover. So I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's really sweet so far, and I will see you next time for the rest of this fun project. Again, I will link down below all of the Junk Journal Studio kits, but this one is focused on what I used today are the embellishments from the Spring Bloom kit. So I will put all the kits down below, but the first one I'll put will be focused on the embellishments because that's what this is. So until next time, I hope you are well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.